Simon Kofe, thanks so much for joining us today. With a couple of weeks having passed since the Pacific Islands Forum, at least the leaders level summit there, I'm keen on your reflections on just how successful you think it was. Maybe we can start first of all around climate change and then get to strategic considerations after that. But on climate change, do you think this was a remarkable meeting in Suva as far as, finding common ground and cohesion?
I think so. On climate change, I think there was general agreement on the language that came forth. I understand that this communique was the first time we reflected the word existential, and Australia was supportive of that. So we're happy with that, and also maintaining the 1.5 target. That's something we're all behind as well. But again, this language is one thing. Implementation and achieving our goals is another thing. And so it's important that we remain focused. And obviously, given the what we're going through at the moment, it has been distracting as well, with the war in Ukraine, the geopolitics in the Pacific. So the leaders recognize that and just re-emphasize the importance of staying focused on climate change and not allowing geopolitics to divide the region.
Sure. Well, you mentioned the 1.5-degree goal being paramount here. Against that, what do you say about Australia's current contributions or commitments for 2030 and for 2050? At 43%, do you think that is consistent with 1.5 degrees?
It's not. I think scientists are saying that it is not consistent with 1.5. But having said that, I think the new administration has taken positive steps in the right direction, much better than the previous government. And I understand they've been in office for about 2 months now. And so we really wanted to start on the right foot with Australia, and I think they are heading in the right direction. But I think more would need to be done on that front.
How much more?
Oh, well, for what scientists are telling us, it needs to be more than 43%. But I guess the other concern as well is we need to move away from the production as well, because you can't really be looking at limiting your emissions, but yet production you're expanding and approving new gas and oil production. So I think it's important that we, to be consistent with the direction we're heading to, that we also need to also look at capping production and phasing out from fossil fuels.
And
I know it's a difficult...
Yeah, I was going to say, Simon, by when do you say that should happen? Because quite clearly the world is in a bit of an energy crunch right now, perhaps due to factors that will pass through in time, hopefully, like the Russian war in Ukraine. But how immediately do you say Australia should be scaling back on its exports or production of coal and gas?
Well, I think a decision needs to be made to transition and to really stop exploration of new fossil fuels. I understand that 2/3 of the energy used in the world right now is from fossil fuels, so we also have to be careful and we can't just put a stop to it. But the commitment needs to be made to phasing down and phasing out from the use of fossil fuels and to have a plan in place to transition. And I guess that's something we're supportive of and hope that other countries can do the same. Australia obviously is one country, but climate change is an issue that we need all countries to be on board and to come up with a plan that will achieve our objectives.
Yeah, I mean, that would obviously be a message that you would send to the US as well as to China. Can I ask about the US? We saw stronger engagement by it on the sidelines of the Pacific Islands Forum, particularly through Vice President Kamala Harris's address, with extra initiatives being announced for the US in the Pacific. How effective do you think that's going to be in countering China's rising influence in the region?
Yeah, we recognize that the US is certainly concerned about the rise of China in the region, and likewise Australia and New Zealand as well. But I think from the discussions that we had at the leaders level at the forum, it's important that we don't allow that to divide the region. Tuvalu is one of the very few countries that still recognizes Taiwan. So we're in that position as well. That we face pressure from China. But the important thing is that we remain united and we focus on what is best for the region, and we should be really dictating the terms on which we engage with superpowers.
Is that a message you send to smaller Micronesian countries like Kiribati? Do you think their disagreement with the forum of late has had a lot to do with China?
I don't like to speculate that is the reason why they pulled out. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and taking the president on his letter to the forum and the reasons that he highlighted in that letter for why they pulled out. And so I think in the interest of maintaining the unity in the region, we really need to look seriously at the concerns raised by Kiribati and find a way to bring them back to the group. And the Fiji Prime Minister in his speech also mentioned that that the door's still open for Kiribati, and a special meeting will be held before the end of this year to look into that.
And do you see a viable pathway back? Do you think this is a disagreement that can be brokered, that can be sorted out?
Yeah, sure. I mean, 1 year ago we had the whole Micronesian group, pulling out of the forum, and through Fiji Prime Minister's leadership, was able to broker a deal and come up with the silver agreement. So everyone is back on board except Kiribati. So I think we're in a much better position that we were in last year. And our hope is that a face-to-face meeting with the Kiribati leadership will go a long way in finding a resolution.
Yeah, it seems to be the general consensus that there were gains made on a few fronts there in Suva this year around. Let's measure what the next 12 months might bring for the group. Simon Kofe, thanks so much for joining us on Afternoon Briefing today.
Thank you.